a year ago now, we decided we wanted to do something bigger and better than the tech demos we'd done before. And we wanted to sort of try and blend some of the techniques that we saw the Hollywood guys using, some of the movie makers' tricks, cinematography, and some of the CG effects those guys are doing, and bring that to the gaming industry and show the gaming guys what, the application of some of those techniques could look like in a demo.
Ruby, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Save it, Optico. Do you have what I want?
Leaving so soon? We'll meet again soon, my dear Ruby.
It was a normal project. We were acting as the sole agency. That meant that we were responsible for the creative. We went through many concepts, and some of these concepts were heavy on visual look. As we got more into presenting these projects, it seemed to be that what they wanted was more of an animation-based project. And in particular, they wanted something that was going to work for an audience that was familiar with gaming cinematics. They wanted a brand, they wanted a character, and that character was driven by market forces. It had to be female. That seemed to be a prerequisite, and from there it was wide open. We did lots of conceptual ideas, and gradually we take elements. The storyboard in previous stage was very useful. It gave us the chance to work out narrative, pace, camera angles, etc. And it also gave ATI an idea of how many elements they were dealing with. From this, they gave us a breakdown of how big things could be, such as the model sizes, the texture sizes, how many bones we could use in the models.
Models were kept very low in polygon count. We had a strict budget that we had to stick to. One for the exterior, one for props, one for characters, and we had to stick to that amount.
When we saw Ruby fight in real life, it looked pretty good, but we're trying to, go that extra step and making it much better, more exciting. The rig works with any, bipedal character. It doesn't matter. It could be a woman, it could be a man, it could be a gorilla. It doesn't really matter. It's very scalable, and then you can just put it up, and then I created some ML script where it just gives you a shoulder, it creates a leg and arms, and it gives you all those controls already set. Key on the project was to work on the setup part simultaneously as Perspective was working on the mocap. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we had to do it so quick, was to create the rig right away so that Perspective was able to give us data and for us to start working on the previs with the mocap.
In approaching Ruby's skin texture, we wanted to develop both a unique and beautiful look. The power of ATI's graphics card allowed us to put an enormous amount of subtle detail into her texture at a very high resolution. We started with a layout of the model's texture space and began building her skin tones. Texture, blemishes, freckles, and eyebrows were painted in as well, with a final layer of makeup to complete the color map. Other textures were also created to further the level of detail, including controls for specularity, bump, translucency, and ambient occlusion. The textures were then plugged into corresponding channels of our skin shader, dictating how the final model would react to light. In lighting the characters, we were able to use a total of 3 interactive lights, with one of those casting dynamic shadows. ATI also gave us the freedom to adjust an array of properties on each light, including position, color, intensity, cone angle, and fall off. This allowed us to really fine-tune character lighting for each shot. The combination of high-res textures, custom shaders, and light rig produced an amazing real-time result. I was definitely surprised with the amount of information that we were allowed to work with. And the funny thing is that we're using the same methods and technology that, not too long ago was used in normal broadcast and film. And it's just that real-time has, had those leaps and bounds up to that technology that, it's just pretty amazing. I think from what ATI has done compared to ours, it's pretty much to the T. They really did a good job.
It was very important for the studio to do that, to show its flexibility. All of the artists and the project leads managed to get their minds across this problem of working in a real-time mode and really stretch it, really work to the full limit of what ATI were offering, which was surprising amount. And I think the studio really showed off its strengths really well and pushed that to the absolute limit.
Ultimately, when we started FarCry, or what the groundwork for FarCry, it started with the rule that we do something different from the market, so to say a big contrast or a big difference on the market. And back then, the rule was dark, closed, confined spaces, linear game, and scripted AI. And we said, well, we will have to make 180 degrees something different. So we decided to go for open terrain, bright colors, non-linear gameplay, non-scripted AI. And then I had also a vacation in the Maldives, tropical flare, paradise sort of thing for me. And when I saw that, I said, well, open terrain now becomes our tropical setting because it was so wonderful that I said it's a great contrast to make a game there because it's beautiful and looks like a paradise, but also this paradise could turn into hell. FarCry, since FarCry is a game, all technology was lined up to be used to be serving the game purpose. But the project, the name of this machinima, is using cinematic features like motion blur, depth of field, a lot of post-processing effects geared towards cinematic computing. Now, we met with ATI a couple of times in a row, and we said, a couple of times together, hey, we should make a demo together because we have capacity and we have some interesting ideas what we would like to do, and we want to make a machinima. We want to showcase the industry that with our engine you can make really cool movies.
How long before we have fully functioning prototypes? Once we finish stabilizing the cybernetics and the Type 2 implants, we'll be able to put them into action. I estimate 2 to 4 weeks.
What's our status, sir?
The damn thing is loose in there and it's cloaked. Use lethal force if necessary. No! I want it alive!
Okay, go into optics. Keep it tight, people. Kowski, bottle it up for me. Nesmith, you cover. Roger, roger. We're getting some interference here.
Alert terminated. Send a cleanup crew to Lab 5. Sir, I'd strongly recommend.
Is that right? Let them through. Once he drops off the girl, make sure he and his boat meet with an unfortunate accident. Contact me once you dispose of our little visitor. When you have the girl, bring her to me. Keep me informed of progress.
Long time no see. What do we have here? This may work out even better than I planned.
We've got uninvited guests heading for Allura, so you maggots better start acting like real soldiers! Ramirez, take one of the RPGs. I'll tell you when to intercept. Do not, I repeat, do not take it out until the girl is off! Now get the hell out of my sight!
I think this is it. I can take it from here. Those Japanese ruins should be a few clicks inland.
How long you think this'll take?
A day or two. Just keep the radio handy and I'll contact you as soon as I'm done. See you later, sailor boy.
It's your dime, lady.
ATI is a massive player, and as I've said before, I mean, Lionhead is absolutely needs to and wants to and does keep a relationship going with like all of the IHVs, all of, you know, if we're putting games out, we need to support them. But ATI is been a really strong company. The links are good, and you know, they've got a winning formula. There's a guy who's at Lionhead called Pete Hawley, who's a journalist originally, and he saw the stuff I was doing in my spare time, basically using coding to make films, and he was like, "You've got to do this, man, more." So we set up this thing called Blue Spoon, which is shameless plug, bluespoon.com. We go on tour with orchestras. The concept will be this: can you make a film that really complements the piece of music? But then the performer, if he decides to like play the chorus 5 times, no problem, because it's all live generated. So, you know, and with an orchestra, live orchestra, it's different every night. And it's just those kind of things are using game technology. My God, no, who knows what we're going to do with it in the future? It's going to be cool.
We want the game to run on as many computers as possible, but we wanted to make sure that whatever platform we chose, the minimum spec to be that it was visually still really, really good. And that was kind of the mitigating factor, because we basically came up with system specs that we figured was a good cross-section of consumer-level PCs and something that we could still run the game at acceptable frame rates and also still look really good. ATI is actually, you know, they're in the office reasonably often anyway, because they talk with John about, you know, about the future of graphics, because John Carmack is who I'm talking about. John has been a visionary, you know, kind of for computer graphics and gaming, and so they definitely kind of talk to him, you know, reasonably often. And so there's somebody from ATI at the office, you know, at least a few times a year.
You know, we want people to be aware that you know, this level of graphics is possible on ATI's hardware, and you know, both in the game developers and in the game buying public's mind, we want to set an expectation that this is where things should be.
I hate Adam Sessler.
I'd rather suck on a urinal puck than play this game.
Why does he get to play video games and review video games on a show about video games? Why does he get to spend every day with Morgan Webb?
We've got a preview of the hottest new releases.
Yeah!
Obsessed with video games? Watch X Play with Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb. Tonight at 11.